Hey everyone, welcome back to another update. Today we're looking at Friday, February 6th and Saturday, February 7th, a 48-hour stretch that delivered a classic mix of White House chaos, congressional gridlock, and diplomatic maneuvering. We're talking Trump's deleted video post featuring Democrats, the hardening stalemate over DHS funding that now points toward a targeted shutdown, the opening round of U.S. Iran nuclear talks in Oman, and the fresh warnings about a more dangerous world after New START expired. Let's dive in. The biggest domestic political story broke late Thursday night and dominated both days. President Trump, or a staffer, posted a video on Truth Social that included an animation depicting former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama as apes, spliced into a longer clip pushing 2020 election fraud claims. The backlash was swift and bipartisan. Civil rights leaders, Democratic officials, and even prominent Black conservatives and Republican senators condemned it as indefensible. Senator Tim Scott called it unacceptable, and several Black Trump allies issued rare public rebukes. The White House initially blamed a staffer, then Trump himself addressed it aboard Air Force One on Friday en route to Mar-a-Lago, saying he only watched the beginning of the clip, didn't see the racist portion, condemned that part, of course, but refused to apologize outright. He insisted the post was about voter fraud. The video was deleted Friday, marking a rare climb down for an administration that typically doubles down. Analysts note this episode shows even Trump isn't fully immune to political pressure, especially with midterms approaching and GOP retirements piling up. Democrats seized on it as evidence of a pattern, while some Republicans quietly worried it alienates swing voters and complicates messaging on other issues. On the fiscal front, negotiations over Department of Homeland Security funding hit a wall. The current stopgap, funding DHS only through February 13th, was part of the deal that ended the broader partial shutdown earlier in the week. However, talks over Democratic demands for ICE and CBP reforms, including unmasking agents, warrant requirements in sensitive cases, and better local coordination, fizzled. Senate Majority Leader John Thune told colleagues the sides aren't close and predicted a DHS lapse after February 13th. Democrats released a 10-point reform plan and made clear they won't accept another short extension, and Republicans countered that major changes are non-starters. Senators in both parties now openly expect a targeted DHS shutdown, which would disrupt TSA, Coast Guard, FEMA, immigration operations, and more. This standoff is deeply tied to the Minneapolis ICE surge fallout, fatal shootings, protests, and the partial agent drawdown announced earlier. Democrats see leverage in public anger, Republicans see a chance to force through anti-sanctuary measures. Either way, the next week is a make or break. Foreign policy delivered the most consequential development. Indirect U.S.-Iran nuclear talks mediated by Oman took place in Muscat on February 6th. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner met indirectly with the Iranian foreign minister. Both sides called it a good start with very good talks. Trump said another round is set for early next week and emphasized that Iran must make tangible and significant concessions on its nuclear program or face very steep consequences. Iran stressed flexibility on uranium enrichment but refused to discuss ballistic missiles, proxies, or sanctions relief beyond the nuclear file. The talks occurred amid a U.S. military buildup in the region, recent tanker seizures, and threats. Trump also signed an executive order on February 6th imposing conditional 25% tariffs on countries doing business with Iran. While no breakthrough emerged, the fact that talks happened and will continue offers a thin diplomatic thread in an otherwise volatile landscape. The expiration of New START on February 5th continued to reverberate, with experts and former officials warning of a more dangerous world without limits on deployed warheads and delivery systems. Russia offered an informal one-year extension. Trump rejected it, calling instead for a new, improved, and modernized deal, potentially including China. The administration insists the old limits are outdated given China's buildup. At home, Trump's push to nationalize elections in key areas drew fresh condemnation. Commentators called it a direct threat to constitutional state control over elections, tying it to ongoing FBI raids on election materials and fraud claims. Democrats framed it as part of a broader pattern of undermining democratic norms. Now it's time for the noteworthy tidbits, which are brought to you today by Ziva Life. Let me tell you about them quick. Looking for a game-changing way to improve your health? Zevo Life is the world's most nutrient-dense whole plant, packed with over 50% plant protein, essential amino acids, fiber, and antioxidants. Harnessing the best nature has to offer, Zevo Life nourishes your body while driving your performance, vitality, and overall well-being. Each serving is a concentrated source of clean, well-balanced nutrition designed to support modern lifestyles, and just 1 teaspoon a day supports your gut, boosts energy, and promotes healthier skin and hair. It's no wonder that it's receiving rave 5-star reviews. Step into a healthier future with a 30% discount and a 30-day risk-free guarantee by visiting zivo.life and using my promo code. To support my show and to receive 30% off your entire order, enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. All right, let's get back to the tidbits. President Trump signed multiple executive orders on February 6th, including one establishing an America First arms transfer strategy and another addressing threats from Iran. Minnesota school districts and educators sued the administration over ICE operations near schools, claiming they create a climate of fear and drive down attendance. Polling and analysis continue to show ICE tactics as a growing liability for Republicans heading into the midterms. Representative Ayanna Pressley is facing mass calls for investigation after it was revealed her net worth surged from negative to $8 million after getting elected to Congress. Los Angeles mayoral candidate Spencer Pratt vowed to cooperate with ICE if he successfully ousts Karen Bass. The FBI arrested a key actor behind the 2012 Benghazi attack in Libya. Oversight Chair Representative James Comer filed to expose all financial information related to Ilhan Omar's surging net worth from $51,000 to $30 million in 12 months. A Neapolitan poll found that Americans support nationwide voter ID by 66 points, with only 15% opposing. The Dow hit 50,000 points for the first time in history after surging 1,206 points on February 7th. NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman slashed $1 billion in annual spending. The Trump administration confirmed the January 6th committee members destroyed evidence exonerating him. Secret Service arrested an Ohio man for threatening to assassinate Vice President Vance, and that man happened to be in possession of child sexual abuse materials, so it will be nice to have him off the streets. 7 Tren de Aragua illegal aliens were arrested for ATM robbery in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Let's end this episode on some uplifting news. National Guard Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf, who was shot in the head by an Afghan national in D.C., is now able to move on his own. He is dealing with a language disorder, but his family believes he will make a 100% recovery. That's all I have for today. The scandalous video dominated headlines, but the DHS deadline in Iran talks could have far bigger, long-term consequences. Will the administration find a way to de-escalate at home and abroad, or are we headed for more shutdowns and showdowns? Share your thoughts on Instagram and X at Shades of Jade Pod. If this roundup keeps you sharp, subscribe, leave a review, and pass it along. Thank you for listening and have a great day.